coming out of that injury, like you had a very clear purpose and direction.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you speak to a lot of people who come to a very critical point in their life, similar to you, as you did, who have this choice of going left or right. Mm-hmm. How do you guide them often if they don't have that purpose and direction?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think in an ideal scenario, determining what the mission is essential. And some, maybe most, struggle to determine what that is. What do you want to do? Or maybe more importantly, is who do you want to be? And that's a very kind of almost easy philosophical question to ask. And some really struggle in determining what that is. But without that to serve as a beacon or a guide to begin driving towards, the cliche expression, if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. You're just kind of like acting in life, digging holes just at random. So I think determining what the mission is essential. And people tend to overthink it, I think. People tend to overthink this. I need this perfect vision, idea of who I want to be or what I want to do, which of course doesn't exist. There's no such thing as perfect. And it's going to change no matter what. No matter how close to perfect you were even to get, it's going to change because one of three things is going to happen. You're going to accomplish it, and then you're going to be moving on to the next one. While en route to accomplishing that, you realize that you may want to pivot in another direction. And here's where that's where the paralysis by analysis comes in is, well, if that happens or when that happens, does that mean that everything that I did up to that point was all for nothing? And I would argue no. For one, you would not have been positioned to make that pivot had you not done all the things you needed to do to get to that point. And almost certainly, you've learned some things on the way. You've grown. You've increased your physical capability, your mental resilience, your disciplined behavior. You got new habits. You got new people around you as a direct result of you launching on this path. Now I'm going to make a slice in this direction, but now I'm equipped with everything that I've been given and earned by moving forward. So that's going to happen, or you're just simply going to drop dead while en route, which of course can happen. So the mission is going to change one way or the other. The paralysis by analysis loop can just keep going on forever. So make a decision, plant the flag, and then begin moving. Now, when people struggle to decide what that is, I usually give three pieces of advice. There's two of them in the book, one of which I've kind of pondered on since I published that, is internal dialogue. Is that even a thing in your life? Call it prayer, call it reflection, look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself the question, like, who do you want to be? And then shut the hell up and listen and let your soul speak to you, which in my opinion, rarely comes blasting through the glass if you're looking in the mirror and like punches you directly in the face. I say more often than not, it shows up in the form of a whisper. But if you're not listening for it, you're not going to hear it. So internal dialogue. The second is play more of like the statistical route, meaning I'm going to focus on my talents and I'm going to move in that direction. A definition of talent is something that you do better than with the least amount of effort. What do you do well with the least amount of effort? And everybody has that. I'm not talking about how good you are in something. I'm talking about your talent, like organic capability. We all have at least one, usually a lot more than one. It's just identifying what it is and then start stacking skill on top of talent, because those are two separate things. And when you wield both of them, your likelihood of success will skyrocket. And then the last one, which I don't mention in the book because this is more recent for me, is what I call weaponized curiosity.
I love that.
Just start trying stuff, man. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you have to just be disciplined to do that. Maybe you're not genuinely interested in it, but start trying things. Or if you're like, I wonder what that's like, go figure out what that's like. Because most of us, I would argue, the passion and drive and sense of purpose behind something usually comes as a result of executing on something just to begin with, based on curiosity or even an emotional trigger towards just doing something. That was what it was for me. I was not in love with being a soldier. I had no sense of purpose with being a soldier until I started being a soldier. And it was like, oh man, I really love this. Like, I want to make this a lifestyle. Cool. Like, that's what I'm going to do. I had no passion for impacting people's lives and helping businesses and entities develop themselves and grow until I became obsessed with writing a book. Like that was the first thing for me. And I just went all in. I wonder what that's like. You know what? We're going to find out. And oh man, I really do love this. So I think there's a lot of lost opportunity and lack of execution because we want to have this clearly defined pathway between now and then. And that can just keep us stagnant for a really long time.
Yeah, I love that last one. I think curiosity is that one thing that we all have, but very few people activate curiosity because they lack courage.
Sure.
And if you layer courage on top of curiosity, dude, that is powerful potential.
Yeah.
Super powerful. I believe that's been one of my strengths is like I have a lot of curiosities and I'm not afraid to activate that curiosity with courage.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I have failed and misstepped, but I've never made the mistake and looked back saying, oh, that was wasted time. And I was gained experience and opportunity that I'm now going to leverage for this next curiosity and layer on more courage.
And you mentioned one component to that is failure. The instant we can begin to see failure as opportunity is the instant that what you just said opens up as an option.
Yep.
I'm actually seeking failure. I want it to happen. Now it's got to be deliberate and authentic. You can't just like half-ass something and be like, oh, I failed. I'm really happy about that. No. I'm talking about going at something to win and then losing. That becomes the opportunity because that's where most of the knowledge is located. You could be talking about a new hat. Like, you know what? I'm curious. Like, what if we start selling hats? What if BPN starts selling hats? Like, I don't know. But you know what? Like, let's find out. And you do the whole thing. You manufacturing and printing and blah, 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 distribution. You get it going. Let's say it totally flops. Not a single person is interested in a hat from you. That totally failed. Okay, what did we just learn from that? I mean, we went at that aggressive. We went at that to win. We were going to sell 1 million hats this year, starting right now. Game on. And it doesn't work. That happens all the time in business and in life, in sport, in physical development, in education. Like this is the game of life. When that happens, this is a random example. For you, that's not the case, but it's a random example. When that happens, those that have operationalized it, those true weapons, those outliers, those really dangerous people, see that point in time and going, good. Okay, here's what we just gleaned from all this. Was it the hat? Was it the design? I don't know. But like, we're going to continue to dig and figure it out. Or you take that knowledge and go, you know what? This isn't our market. It's not the right time. Like, but you wouldn't have gotten to that point had you not been willing to have the courage to execute in the face of fear, which I think is enabled once we see the value of failure.
Yeah, I have a great example of that from this past year. For the past couple of years, we have put on these races, marathons and ultra races. And we typically launch these where it's a lottery system where you sign up and then we have this drawing and say 5,000 to 10,000 people sign up for the lottery. Maybe only 125 to 150 people are going to get selected randomly through a lottery. So they're wildly successful for us. We know our audience loves the ultra distance races, marathons.
Yeah.
So we had this idea this past year that we were going to do a more fun race. It was going to be a relay race in Austin in a parking garage. It was teams of 4 people. Each person had to run 800 meters.
Okay.
So it was a 2-mile race. You didn't have to prep for it. You didn't need to prepare. It was fun. It wasn't that hard. Just come do this race and have fun. And based off of all of our confidence in all of our races in the past, we assumed thousands of people were going to sign up. We launched the website. We're like bracing for the impact. And I think we had room for like 25 teams or something like that. 6 teams signed up, which we never experienced in our life before.
Right.
And the team was crushed. The team here was like tail between their legs, walking around not talking. And I came in and I was like, guys, this is a massive win. This is a huge win.
There we go.
We just learned so much from our consumer. Our consumer doesn't want fun. They don't want easy. They don't want to fly in and have a good time and laugh and have some drinks and eat some food. No, they want to sign up for something that they know is going to kick their ass.
Yeah.
They want to suffer. They want to put in 10 to 20 weeks of prep, putting it all on the line, coming to race. So when they finish or cross the finish line, they've exhausted the tank.
Yeah.
They're wiped. They're going to feel the pain for days and weeks after that.
Yeah.
It is earned. There are brands and companies who spend hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars to get this consumer feedback and research. We got it for free.
How fortunate are you?
Everyone saw us as a failure. I said, no, this is the biggest win we've had of the year.
Yeah. It's only, I mean, you could say it's only a failure if you stay down, or I like to dissect the dichotomy between failure and defeat, because I think that is a failure. Like, this was the goal. You failed to meet the goal.
Correct.
Got it. But you're not defeated, because you're going to learn, you're going to get back up, and you're going to move. And you know what? With your team, it has to hurt. It has to sting. Otherwise, it's not an authentic loss.
Correct. Yeah.
And you can't, that catalyst isn't there to drive the knowledge transfer, acquisition, and improvement. So it has to hurt. And that's where many are just unwilling to go, because it's damaging. It's damaging to this system. And like, I'm just unwilling to take that risk. I'm going to play it safe. Most will stay in that bubble. Weirdos like you and like me are willing to venture outside that, because that's where the growth actually happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.